Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS, Season 2, number 73. And today we're doing an uncensored rant with my friend and yours, Pete Johns from Studio Live Today. And as Big Kev would say, I'm excited! So welcome to the show, folks. And let's organise my screen here and shoot over to our main interview. Howdy do, Pete Johns. How you going today, my friend?
You know me, it's early morning. This is my time to shine. This is when my brain is actually functioning at about 100% or at least 90-ish. So I'm doing well. How about you, Jay? Ready to rant?
I'm doing well too. Got my coffee in hand.
Oh, yeah. Got the coffee. Mine doesn't look as fancy as yours.
Oh, it is fancy.
Got the Studio Kids today. This is my branch off brand. Until YouTube stopped you making videos for kids, I was going to make a whole series for kids. But now, yeah, you can't put any advertising on videos for kids, so that idea went away. But I still have the mug. There you go.
Really? No advertising for kids stuff?
Oh, yeah, it's a long... We can rant about that, but
yeah.
It will only be interesting to about 3% of people. But, yeah, there's something called the COPPA, the Child Online Privacy and Protection Act, came out of California, and it means that, anyone under the age of 13, there's a heap of strict rules around what you can and can't put in your content and what you can advertise and what you can do. So, if anyone wants... I'll do an hour-long rant about COPPA, but I fear no one would care.
Don't tell QAnon. They'll probably think it's an evil organisation. So for those of you who don't know, Pete Johns is a musician, very talented musician. He also runs his YouTube channel, which is Studio Live Today, where he teaches, inspires people to create, record, release their music, amongst many other things. The man of 1,000 musical video talents. So it's always good to have you on the show, Pete. Thank you for joining me. We'll say hello to the folks in the chat, which I always forget about because I'm shocking at this and I can't use StreamYard because StreamYard. So Russ is here, Tom, Benedict Stewart. We've got Scott, SM Borthwick, Jeff Brush, Langston Reese, I say Stu Cash, Gary Hubbs, Fallen. We've got everyone here today. Hail, the gang is all here. So,
love it.
Feel free to add your bits and bobs in the chat as we...
Absolutely. If you want to trigger Jade or I, just, put a comment there. Just put, I'm about to go and buy a non-genuine Apple Lightning to USB adapter and just watch me get triggered by that. Have some fun with it.
Jacob, I should get that right. Hack did a live stream on what I don't like about iOS last night. I watched the whole thing, and it was mostly about adapters. Oh, there was a lot of stuff in there. Yeah, very interesting stuff on there. So I'm going to start today with, I'm just going to bring this up on my screen and go small here. We're going to have a little bit of a chat about the Apple event that's coming up, which has just been announced. So it was announced for September 15th. So that's Wednesday for us here. But it's Tuesday, is it right here? For the US at 10 a.m. So September 15. And it just has, it's up on the screen here, the Apple event. It has a logo that is in one kind of weird curly thing. And there's not much given away about it this time. So... it's happening. There's a lot of speculation on what's going to happen. People have said it's just going to be a watch and an iPad and no iPhone. There's other people saying it's an iPhone event, and Apple are being completely tight-ass about it. What do you think's going to happen? I'm looking around here now. To be very honest, like we were chatting beforehand, I'm like, I'm so out of the loop on this stuff. I know you mentioned there was an event potentially coming. I didn't know what it was or when it was. I'm looking at it now, and yeah, it kind of looks like the Woolworths logo for those who are here in Australia. It's like the fresh food people. They're actually branching out into online grocery delivery. That's going to be the new Apple thing. They're pairing with the Woolworths to get your groceries. Actually, sorry, side note, that would be kind of cool. If you had your Apple Watch and just like, Apple, send me milk. I'm out to make coffee. And then milk arrives. That'd be kind of cool. I know Amazon already kind of do that in the States. But yeah, I'm seeing one here that says time flies under the thing. So I think watch is imminent. Yep. And maybe it might actually be time for me too. I'm a Fitbit guy. So I only use the Fitbit smartwatch. I've never owned an Apple Watch as much as people assume that I do own everything Apple. I don't. But I think we're going to be underwhelmed. I don't think that the production cycles and time
timelines and everything else has been kind. So we already know iOS 14 announcement. I don't think we're getting iPhone 12 yet. I'd be very surprised. I know we normally get iPhones around about now, but I'm happy to be surprised. If we get an iPhone 12, I'll be happy because my 10s is coming towards end of life in probably about 6 months' time. So I'll love it if a 12 does come out in the next 6 months. But what do you reckon? You've got your finger more on the pulse than I do. You have better connections than I do. What's happening?
I don't this time. I've on purpose kept my head out of it because there's so many conflicting reports and there's so many leaks as usual. There's just more and more leaks each year. What I do think there's going to be an iPhone 12. I think it's been a much better environment for Apple to be secretive this time around because of the pandemic. So I have a feeling there's going to be a new watch for sure. There's going to be a new iPad Air with a USB-C connector. That's definitely on the cards, I believe. Yeah. I think and regarding the watch, you mentioned you got a Fitbit. I'm going to be honest about my watch. I have a Series 3 Apple Watch, which I just got recently. So what are we up to? Series 5, I think, is the one that's out at the moment.
Yep.
I honestly wouldn't recommend buying the latest one. I have a feeling they're going to move the Series 4 to Series 3. Is that right? I don't even think they'll move the Series 5 to a Series 3. I mean, because you can't even get the Series 4 anymore.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't recommend going for you're paying $200 more for not much. What else are they going to fit into this little thing? I can't see them fitting anything more in to make it compelling. And in regards to the logo, I reckon that's got to do with AR.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. But they definitely have, and it's a weird thing about AR, because every time I look at my iPad Pro, I look at the back of this thing and I'm like, what, does this have 3 cameras? And I'm like, no, one of those is a LiDAR sensor, which is something to do with AR, which is something that's coming soon. So yeah, I think there's got to be some sort of use case for all this AR investment and things that they're doing. But I mean, bringing it back to music and music creation, I'm not really excited because I don't really think we're going to get anything that's going to help musicians. I mean, the iPad Air 3 is already pretty good, and people like the Lightning port because they've got a bunch of Lightning gear. If it goes to USB-C, I think it will. I think all iPads will be USB-C. Do you think iPhone 12 is going USB-C? Do you think they're just going to keep the Lightning thing going with the phones and then just have all phones Lightning, all iPads USB-C moving forward?
I think this is the year that they go USB-C all the way. Yeah. They're going to have to at some point. They're going to have to bite the bullet. It's probably the perfect time too, with the supply chain being so bad because of COVID. So it's because it's a generic thing to make. I think it's going to be easier for their supply chain. You got to remember they're trying to whack out all these chips for their new Macs. I reckon the Macs they're going to have a new Mac with their own chipset.
Yep.
I have a feeling too they're going to announce a new kind of Mac that's not going to be an Air. I think the Airline's gone. I think they're going to ditch it. They'll combine they'll probably end up with a Mac Pro Air thing that I think they're going to cut one of the Macs out, and it's going to be the Air that'll be sacrificed because the iPad Pro has replaced it. I think it's getting closer to that. Or they're going to do a test run with the Air with their first chip in it. So ultimately, though, I'm in the same boat as you. I really don't care.
We've just spent 10 minutes talking about something that either is going to wrap up.
I don't care because, and I'll tell you why, because I'm not in the market for anything. I have a whole bunch of things that are still going to last me a few years. So that cycle's not going to change for me. I care just to watch because I love the whole spectacle of the whole thing. It's just, I don't know, it's ingrained in me. And what I am going to say is I'm considering live streaming it. I know I asked you if you'd be interested in joining me. So, I mean, that's, I'm going to do it. Yeah, I'm going to need a lot of coffee too because it's 3 a.m. here live. But, I'm thinking of doing a live stream where I'm probably going to sit there and take the piss out of it and make fun of the whole thing because it can get really camp. I mean, there's a lot of cringe in an Apple keynote, let's be honest.
Yeah. Yes, which I mean, it's true, and it probably. I don't know if you get called an Apple fan, and that you're in the pocket with Apple, and that you just buy anything and you applaud when they tell you that they're going to sell you an $8,000 monitor. I've never been that, and in fact, I've probably taken the piss out of those people a bit harshly in the past myself before I started using Apple products, but. I think it's all this gear stuff and all the talk about gear and new gear, and you're right. When you're not in the market for something, it's not as interesting. And I think we'll probably get onto some other similar types of rants, but I think the whole thing about gear. Someone left a comment on my video yesterday talking about new gear, and I'm showing like my new Xtone Pro. So I've got a new audio interface that Xtonic sent me, like the Xtone Pro. It's very nice, like guitar interface. And I was playing around with it, and it's really cool. And someone said, "Oh, so throw out all your Steinberg interfaces, people, because now Pete likes this one." And I'm like, yeah, but no." And my response was, if I wasn't making videos to help people pick and choose and use the right gear, I would just find what works for me and use it like forever. And in fact, in my private stuff, I had the Steinberg UI12 for like 4 years. I replaced it with a Steinberg UI22C only because I wanted a second channel. And that's about it. So, yeah, I think that there is a temptation there that with all the new gear and all the shiny stuff that you just go chasing the, the rainbow unicorn of the perfect setup and the perfect sound and the perfect tone. And yeah, spending far too much time doing that and not enough time creating music. So, no, everyone here needs to keep me in check. And Jade, you need to keep me in check. If I ever become one of those gear douchebags that are just telling you all about the latest gear and not actually producing any music, you have to tell me to pull my head in.
I can't see that happening, though. And I can't see that happening. You're too genuine and nice person for that. So, in relation to that, I think people need to understand, like, and I'm starting to feel it too, like, now that I'm creating content on YouTube. We do sometimes, well, I'm doing it now, so I'll speak for myself first, but I'm starting to get some apps and buy some apps that I think people would be interested in that I may not necessarily use. But at the same time, I'm knowing it's handy maybe to have them in the back pocket if something comes up. So I'm not flat out just going, "Ooh, I'm never going to use that. I'll just get it for the show." So I'm trying to find a balance of catering to a wider audience of people of music apps like synthesizers. I don't use a lot of synthesizer apps. I'm sure you're probably the same because we make more acoustic rock kind of music and metal for me. So people have to understand, I think with you, if you're going to show something like that, it's not that you're sitting there going, "Oh my God, I need the latest gear." Like, so don't do as I buy. Yeah. Do as I show on my show. Pick the ones that work for you out of what you're lucky enough to show. If a creator sends you something.
Exactly, and it's exactly the same with apps. Like and again, this is going to be like a pretty cringy, nauseating humble brag, but like people send me stuff and people send me apps and links to apps a lot of the time, and I have to be really honest and say thank you. I will never use this, and I probably won't show it on my videos, but thank you, because some of the stuff is just, it's not in line. I know that none of my viewers will care about it. Like there's these people that send me these links to Android IPTV boxes, which are probably semi-legal at best anyway, but they are everywhere, and about 2 or 3 times a week, I just get a random email from a Gmail address saying, "We would like to send you an Android IPTV box." And I just, now they just go straight in the spam. I started replying to them, and then I realized that like this is just a slippery slope. But I say all that to say that the apps that I do review and that I do recommend, it's usually that I've stumbled across them, and I'm like, "Hey, this is cool," and I check it out. And I'm like, "Hey, this is cool. I might share this." Like last night, it was complete serendipity. I'm on GarageBand Users, scrolling before bed at like 10 o'clock at night. And Benedict Stewart, who's one of the, I think he might be here in the chat, or he was on the other show, he mentioned, he's like, "Oh, there's these 3 random plugins. There's this delay, there's this filter, and this reverb, and they're free, and they look cool." And I'm like, "Ooh, free and cool, I like that." And I jumped in, put them on my track, started playing around with them. You know how it goes, you know the drill. 30 minutes later, I'm still there playing with them. I'm like, I'm enjoying these. I'm just going to hit record and do a video. So at midnight, Pete has finished playing with these, and I'm not a late person. So
I know.
For me to be up to midnight is ridiculous. So at midnight, I'm like, "Oh, I've got this video done," and I put it out there, and that's the sort of stuff I like. Like, yes, sometimes I'll do a video series where I plan it out, weeks in advance, and I've got the developers on board and blah blah blah. But sometimes it's just fun to have the flexibility. And again, it's why that we live in the future. And I keep saying we live in the future because we have the ability to do what we want. Like no one is putting me on. I say this a lot of the time. I say this to people, like no one would choose me to host a TV show about apps, about music, about anything. And that's not to be self-deprecating. It's just reality.
Yeah.
I didn't have the skills when I started out. I didn't have the experience. I didn't have the connection. You need all three of those things to get in. You have to have a foot in the door in media, in old media. The beautiful thing about new media and social media is anyone can have a crack, and you can start out being shit, and then you can just improve. You can learn over time. You can grow. You can develop. You can increase your confidence, your skills, your experience, and then you can create your own opportunities. And that is both a blessing and a curse, because the blessing means that the barrier of entry is low. Anyone can get in and do the stuff that we're doing right now. Right now. Grab your smartphone, you can do it right now. But because anyone can do it, everyone's doing it. So it's a two-way sword. I want to throw that out there because obviously you've been around. You know the old world of old music and old media. You're in the new world of new media. What's your views on this? Is it Nirvana now? What are some of the challenges and benefits that you see of where we're at?
I think it's going to be very interesting where we're heading. I think I feel more concerned for the. All right, if we're talking about let's talk about the music industry first. So, your big stars, like Madonna and all these big stars. I feel concerned for them because I don't know how they're going to cope. Like, you've got artists like Ben Folds 5, very creative artists who are just already on it, who are already doing these things. There are many artists who are way on the curve and just ready to go. Like, he's been smashing it from his little apartment and keeping that contact with fans and probably getting new fans. Where I think, I say Madonna as an example because I've just watched her kind of almost breaking down, not having this constant this love from her fans. So she's doing videos from her bathtub talking nonsense and there's... I feel bad for them. I feel like there's an evening out, and we're all getting to catch up, and so in the same time of saying that I see it evening out, then I see things like Facebook trying to change the rules around people creating live streams, which has become a really big thing as well. Look, I think I'm not scared of the new normal. I think the new normal is what we need. I'll tell you what really bothers me, how there's a lot of crazy folks at the moment sprouting a lot of crazy shit, right? And they're scared of this new world order or this new normal. And it's like, really? You're the same people who've been saying the way things are sucks balls. So I think it's time. I think this is a great opportunity for us to rip down the walls and change things up because it's an uneven playing field.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's so true. It's probably there's a good comparison to pull over to music as well, because the exact same thing we said about Madonna versus Ben Folds, you could say about a guy who is a mixed engineer in $1 Million Studio versus up-and-coming home studio producer. Yep. Because it's the same sort of thing. Like, some of them are evolving. Some of them are doing ridiculously well because they're taking what they do and they realize it. So a lot of these big producers, like Chris Lord-Alge and these guys, like they're now going, okay, so I'm not going to just get paid billions of dollars to buy a big-name artist. They're starting to do signature plugins so that people in the home studio can use what Chris Lord-Alge uses to produce his music. They're doing courses. They're doing videos. They're engaging with people. They're realizing that it's the people that are like, I've got 27 years experience in a studio and I would never use an iPad to record, that talk down and look down upon the whole industry. They're the ones getting left behind. I think it's the same with pop performers and anyone in the popular culture that isn't willing to evolve with time. You can't put the cork back in the bottle. There's no way to turn back time. Cher tried. If she could turn back time, she can't do it. If Cher can't turn back time with all that auto-tune, then what hope do we have? We need to move on. You talked Facebook. What is happening with Facebook? I keep hearing this, and clearly I need to actually do some research, but they're changing things around what you can and can't share on Facebook Live. Is that the deal?
Well, I'll put it up on the screen and we'll have a look at it together because I'm confused about it. I don't really get exactly.
I keep hearing panic, and whenever I hear panic, I'm like, it's probably nowhere near as bad as it actually sounds. But yeah, obviously people are worried, and I probably need to learn.
So we've all had these messages up on Facebook, if you're a Facebook user, saying the rules are changing October 1st. Read them. Nobody does. Everybody's clicking it away. But right down the bottom of it is this: music guidelines. These supplemental terms apply if you post or share any videos or other content containing music on any Facebook products. You are responsible for the content you post. People use our products to share content with their family and friends. Keep in mind, you remain solely responsible for the content you post. They just said that, including any music that features in that content. Nothing in these terms constitutes any authorization by us with respect to any use of music on any of our products. Use of music for commercial or non-personal purposes in particular is prohibited unless you have obtained appropriate licenses. You may not use videos on our products to create a music listening experience. We want you to be able to enjoy videos posted by family and friends. However, if you use videos on our products to create a music listening experience for yourself or others, your videos will be blocked and your page profile or group may be deleted. This includes unauthorized content may be removed. This is the last bit that you post. Music that you post is if it's owned by someone else, your content may be blocked or be reviewed by the applicable rights owner and removed if your music is not properly authorized. You may not be able to post or access videos containing music in every country of the world. We want you to be able to share videos with your family and friends. Family and friends, man. What is this deal? Like, so the last bit is, if it is allowed at with your family and friends, wherever they are, but any music in your video, if it is allowed at all, may not be available in all countries around the world.
Yeah. So all of that is, so here's what I read from that. I read Facebook are getting a lot of pressure from the BMGs, the Warners, the Universals, because they don't have a system like YouTube does, which is a content ID system. So they are playing whack-a-mole, hit and miss with people that are using unauthorized music just flagrantly in their videos. So to me, this is targeting the people that are doing listening parties, that are basically just putting an album on and sitting there with a bunch of people on their Facebook profile page and trying to generate likes and follows and all those other vanity metrics by using other people's property to profit from it. That I agree that people shouldn't be doing that.
For sure.
I don't think, though, that it's having the flow-on connotations that people are fearing. So I think like YouTube, where they don't give a crap if you just play a bad out-of-tune cover song of Justin Bieber, but if you play Justin Bieber's whole album on a stream, they're going to have a significant issue. I think we're going to see the same sort of thing here. I think this is Facebook putting up a big legal protection saying, if Warner come after us, we're just going to give them your address and send them around to your place because we don't want to deal with any of this content ID copyright stuff. We're just going to make sure you know that you are 100% responsible for it. You're the one that's going to get sued if you start playing other people's music without their permission. I don't think, because I know you and I were talking, is what does this mean for us? Like, we have music released. Like, do we need authorization from ourselves? Like, how do we authorize our own music? How do I know if I can play a cover song or not? So my read on this, as usual, that the reaction is usually at about 300% of the actual impact. So I think the reaction's up here, the impact's going to be somewhere down here. And unless right now you are flagrantly flaunting the rules and literally just streaming a whole pile of Cher and Justin, why do I keep going back to Cher and Justin Bieber? Then I think you're going to be okay. But what's your read on it? Do you think that we should all start cracking each other's brains open and feasting on the goo inside?
Look, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what it means. I'm just worried about this authorization stuff. Now, look, I get the listening parties. I agree totally 100% with that. I do have a lot of people on my Facebook page who like to rant about their life, a lot of transgender people, because they go through a lot of shit in their life, or, you know, as trans people we do. And I know a lot of them play music in the background and their videos get flagged. So they're not really trying to play the artist. It's just something they have to fill the background, and they're not aware of. Nobody reads the terms and conditions of this stuff, so they don't really understand copyright and all that stuff. So they're doomed. For sure. Now, I've done videos as Gladys Worthington on Facebook, and it's been weird because, like, I made the music, like they're covers of popular songs like Careless Whisper, and I'm changing all the words, but I've made all the music in GarageBand, so it's not exactly the same, so it can't get copyright ID because it doesn't match. And I've changed all the lyrics, but with Facebook over YouTube, because the two same videos went live on both sides, YouTube just gave me some copyright claims.
Yep.
It's nothing. And Facebook made me chop out two of the songs. Like, actually, they just automatically chopped them out and said, is this okay if we do this? So does it mean that they're just going to rip down the whole video from now on? I don't know with Facebook. I don't trust them anymore. I think the deal they've made with the government over news is really scary as well.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you who don't know, outside of Australia, I'll quickly talk about it. So basically the Australian government's made a deal with pretty much the Murdoch press more than anyone else, because the Murdoch press is pissed off that they're not getting money for for news that is being shared on Facebook, and they want to charge Facebook a fee to have their news shared. And Facebook's gone, fuck you, we're not doing that. We look after our people because our people are our product, and we utilize their photos in our ads, which most people don't know. So we have a business model ourselves. And so it could mean that Australians may not be able to share news anymore, which is really scary. Who knows how that's going to pan out? And it's all tied into this October 1st thing. So it's just around the corner. So, look, I joined MeWe last night. And I'll be honest, it's just fucking Facebook. It's just a light Facebook. Like, it's ugly like Facebook. It's got no character. It's an empty room of Facebook. What I want to see is, man, I would do anything to start a GoFundMe and get everybody to throw in $1 and hire somebody to create MySpace Mark II.
Well, interesting you say that. Have you seen Slaps? Slaps.com, the DistroKid social network. Hit up slaps.com. I'm pretty excited about this one. Patrick from the GarageBand guy put me onto this. And it has the potential to be like MySpace, but without the flashing unicorn widgets on there and all the flash animation. But it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. You sign up. It's a DistroKid product, so you can use your DistroKid account or you can sign up separately. And it is a music sharing social media. So it is where you can go in, you can comment on other people's. You get not clout, it's some sort of currency that you have to engage with a bunch of other people before you can share your stuff. So it's no just link spamming, link dropping stuff. You have to actually get in there and actually engage with other people's music. And it is literally just all around sharing music, having conversations about music. It's absolutely in its probably alpha, let alone beta stage at the moment. But yeah, I'm going to do a video probably over the weekend, just checking it out and showing my experience with it, because I haven't tried it yet. Patrick's already on there, so you can search for Patrick Baird, and he's got a bunch of songs on there. But yeah, it looks like it could be good, and it looks like it could be kind of what you're hoping for, which is very much a music base. But it just needs the random chatter. That's the only thing missing from here. It needs music, but it kind of needs to branch out there into random chat like we have in our Facebook groups. If it can do that as well, I think it's on a winner.
I've just got up on the screen here. Yeah, it kind of looks like a cross between SoundCloud.
Yeah, it's SoundCloud.
And a bit like Facebook, SoundCloud kind of thing. I like the picture of the little WAV file with the album cover next to it. That looks cool. That's exciting.
And it's comment to track ratio. So you've got to have a CTR, and you need at least a 5.0 CTR before you can start uploading music. So you've got to get in there, start discovering other people's music before you get in there. I mean, you can say what you will about forced participation and that sort of stuff, but it definitely does stop people just going in there, creating 10 different profiles and just link dropping all of their albums and telling you how fire and 100 and other emojis and young people talk I don't understand they are. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, and I thought I would mention it because if Patrick likes it, he's a good man. So if Patrick likes it, it must be good.
Definitely. Good call. Thank you very much. I had no idea about that.
Yeah,
look,
I
would like to see something like. Look, I love the flashing gifs and all that stuff. I really love that. I love the wild
trash.
I love the Wild West of MySpace, and I love the way that people actually did engage over music first. I think if something does replace Facebook and does gain traction, what I would really love is for it to be something like Our Book, or with our in it, instead of so self-centered me, because I think that all this time with this my thing, I think as a society we've become really selfish, and it's showing throughout this pandemic with the amount of people who are just like, oh, it's only old people dying. You know, like, oh, who cares? What about all the suicides that are happening? It's like, oh, hang on, that's so bizarre. Like, how could you say you're concerned about these people but not? I think there's a large degree of selfish people. So I think the next social media thing that hopefully takes over for Facebook is actually social.
It is weird. Yeah, it's bizarre, and I could rant for hours and won't, but I could rant for a long time on the whole thing. And I've even done a video saying it's YouTube, not MeTube, because I got really pissed off with the YouTube culture that came in about when I started. And I deliberately went the other way. So yes, I have to do some of the like, comment, subscribe stuff because I do need to, get people to watch videos, and I do need to do some of the search engine optimization, all that sort of stuff. But hopefully I do it in a way that's not really annoying, because the amount of times that I watch a video and it's like, hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you'd like to subscribe to me, and if you could like and comment on my video, and yeah, hi guys, like it's so inwardly focused. And it's like, what are you actually delivering to someone else? Like, this is a content platform where you are supposed to be delivering something of value to other people, yet you're spending the first 60 seconds of every video, which is a long time in internet land, spending the first 60 seconds telling people what they should do, why they should like you, before you've given them sweet FA. So I don't really understand that whole concept, and I really wish that, like you say, people would take a bit of an introspective look and go, what am I actually trying to do here? Who am I trying? Like, everything is trying to help someone. Even if it's entertainment, it's all just trying to help someone either laugh, smile, learn, cry, fart. No, it's to help someone do something. You want a reaction out of other people, and you're giving something to them. So yeah, I also hope that there's some sort of social media revolution. I worry that we're kind of going a bit the other way, but maybe we'll hit rock bottom, bounce back up, and suddenly everyone will be more focused on helping other people, because there's hints of it. There's little glimmers around the edges of really cool, positive things that are starting to happen, and hopefully, fingers crossed, what you and I do through some of these sort of shows and through engaging with the people. As I say that, I'm looking at the comments here that we've been ignoring people for about the last 20 minutes while we've been ranting. But yeah, hopefully we're on our way.
Yeah, and what have people been saying? Russ says, what about us people who bought cassette, then vinyl onto CD, then MP3? What discount did they give us? They want their cake and eat it, the big artists.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, and now they're back to vinyl, Russ. So
yeah,
now you've gone down to this pristine digital quality. They're pressing new vinyl releases of all their old stuff. You have to rebuy the remastered version now. So yeah, they're running low on ideas. Would be my take on that.
Everything's cool if it's like, everything's not cool unless it's on vinyl again these days. It's so bizarre, and it's got to be purple vinyl or some crazy color.
Absolutely. Yeah, like those old collector's edition used to go. What are they, like the acetone or whatever, the ones that you bought that were like $50 for the same that was actually 20. Yeah.
To match your acid wash jeans. Tom Rochelle says you could take it to mean, this is on the Facebook, the changes, you could take it to mean that they might block us from doing a live musical performance or posting your song from GarageBand or Logic like most of us do. Hope that's not the case.
I don't think it's the case, Tom, but yeah, nothing surprises me. I'm neither surprised by things not happening or by things happening these days. Like my current thing I'm saying is that if the news came out tomorrow and it said aliens exist now, I'd just be like, yeah, that's fine. 2020, just keep coming at me. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, I'm down with that. Come, anal probe me, whatever. Like, we're all getting anal probed anyway every day, so
Getting virtually anal probed by the mainstream media or the anyway.
we're all eating our sandwich full of fuck. So,
Still waiting for that new album or the new band.
it's coming. I've already written the lyrics. I wrote the lyrics yesterday for an FMC song. SM Borthwick says, I joined Slaps a while ago. It is an interesting idea. Haven't posted anything yet, though. So
Same here. Yes, I also need to check it out.
I'll do it today. What else have we got here? I'll just read Tom Michelle's last comment. Part of the problem is YouTube sets up these goalposts with subs to unlock features everyone should have. Can't even have a custom URL without 100 subs.
That is a really good point. Can I rant on that for about
Rant.
So yeah, you're right. The YouTube thing, you can't live stream from a mobile until you get 1,000 subs. You can't have your custom URL until you get 100 subs. They do. It's weird. YouTube and Facebook and all these people, all these places say on one hand, don't worry, look after your own mental health, serve your audience. Don't worry about all these vanity metrics. And they're like, except to unlock all of these cool features, you need to be popular. So do whatever you possibly can. It's sending very mixed messages. YouTube, Facebook, everywhere is sending these mixed messages because they are saying, yes, we're an open platform. Everyone can do everything, except there's all of these rules for just these people that hit these certain levels. And I kind of don't like that. I don't think that's what leads to the sub for sub culture. That's what leads to all the like, comment, and subscribe bullshit. That's what actually leads to people getting that little dopamine hit for every like and every sub because they know it's like playing a freemium game. They know that they can unlock that next feature. If they can just get to Candy Crush level 50 where they get the golden gummy bear, then everything will be great. And it's the same sort of thing with the social media platforms, that they are just rewarding people for doing this sort of thing. So yeah, I hear you and feel you, Tom. I think it's a big pile of dicks, and they should try and not do that because it's worse for kids. Like, kids are getting into this stuff now, and I could talk TikTok, we could talk everything, but there's a thing that's like, I'll watch a video and they're like, oh, hi guys, blah, 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 don't let this fail. And it's like, failure and success is now being determined by whether a bunch of dickhead strangers on the internet like what you do. That ain't good. That's not a good way to set up your life and to set up your self-esteem, because if you attach your self-esteem to what other people, especially strangers on the internet, think of you and what you do, then you're setting yourself up for a life that's going to be pretty hard and an uphill battle. So, okay, that was more than 60 seconds. But
No, this is the Uncensored Rant. This is where we get the opportunity to have those longer rants, because that's why I set it up, How many times have we done videos? I know in the short time I've been doing it, I sit there and think, like yesterday when everything failed for my stream, it was like, you know what? StreamYard, I'm just going to go, Argh! I could have gone on for an hour, but thankfully I didn't. I'm not even going to touch it today. But look, just carrying on from what you said with the YouTube, look, I used to have monetization on my channel back when anyone could have it. I'll never forget the day when they sent me the email and went, guess what? We're taking away your monetization. You don't have 1,000 subs. I was like, what? What? You can't do that. I was actually making a little bit of money. Like, even though it was nothing, maybe a few dollars, you're taking that away from me for creating content? And then I totally let my channel just stagnate for the longest time. And if it wasn't for like doing this again, where I've actually started to care, and like, I'll be transparent as all fuck. I'm not trying to do this as a business. Like, I'm never aiming to get this, because I know it's such a hard slog and I have so many other things going on. But I figured by doing this show, I sit there on Facebook every day answering questions anyway, and I've had so many friends asking me questions about this stuff. I may as well just do it every day on video and get it all out of my system. And if everyone's got a question, I can get it done. And I think I know you're the same. Like, there's a look. Releasing music is fantastic, and you played that video on your channel, letting me talk about my music just 15 minutes before today's show. And I'm really thankful to have a music career and all that stuff. But this has been so much more rewarding than music at the moment, knowing that other people are getting, just from me crapping on in front of a stupid camera on YouTube, It's been amazing. So I'm really thankful for the YouTube platform. I'm scared of where it's heading because I see people get removed all the time. I get channels getting ripped down just for, this is out of the music thing, but having an opinion. So it's a bit scary to have an opinion too if you're doing videos like we're doing, in case they do start to close down and remove us. Like, I would be heartbroken if all my videos got removed in one day. That would be devastating.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope, and the thing is, I don't disrespect companies from doing things that are going to make them money so that they survive. The opposite is that they just do a free for all and they don't make money and then they don't survive. So I will accept some of the rules and limitations of a Facebook and a YouTube, knowing that if they don't make money, they don't exist, and I have zero ability to do what I do. So there's a whole building your house on rented land thing that needs to go along with this as well. That you remember the early days of the internet. You wanted to host a video, my God, you had to pay for the space, the bandwidth, the ability to stream it and put it all up on your own server, which people would be lucky if they could buffer it and actually watch a real media clip at like 56K. So the fact that we can stream in high def, that we can put 4K videos, like I uploaded a 2 GB video yesterday of 7 minutes of me playing with a box, playing with that interface, 4K 60 frames a second video that I can then share with everyone in the world, and I can do it for free on a platform. And then, so it is hard. It's hard to complain too hardcore about the platforms that give us all of this stuff. But yeah, there's always going to be something that's not going to be ideal. And yeah, at the moment, my biggest concern for the future is, again, the vanity metrics and the attachment of the likes and the follows and the subscribes to people's self-esteem. Because if that goes away, so does their self-worth. And that just terrifies me, because it shouldn't be attached to that at all.
Yeah, the dopamine hit, what does it get replaced with? That's the question. Do people go back to gambling?
Yeah, gambling, drugs, alcohol, like, you name it. Like it's instead of, people are addicted to their smartphones. They're addicted to that like. They're addicted to seeing, and people at the point now where they put a post. I've seen people do it on Instagram all the time. They'll put a post up and I'll read it. I'm like, oh, that's a cool thing. That's a nice thought you've shared, and I'll like it. And then like I'll sort of look 5 minutes later and it's gone. And I'm like, oh no, weird. That person didn't get enough likes and responses to that, so instead of letting it sit there as a scar, as like a horrible thing that happened, they remove it. So they curate it to make it look like everything they say is gold and everything that they post is amazing. And that just, if I put something out and 2 people like it, I'm like, cool, I've engaged with 2 people that thought I had a cool idea. More power to me and them. Like, yay, high five us. So yeah, I don't get that, but again, I just hope that there's enough positive influence that we can put out there in the world that will help folks and realize that that's not the answer. It's just that dopamine hit.
I must admit, I curate my posts on Facebook, but I don't delete them. I actually, and it's not like I don't have a set date, but I normally go back and read the stuff over the last week and edit and correct spelling mistakes that I make heaps because I'm using a smartphone. Or if my opinion has changed in that week, I'll add something extra to it and go, maybe I wasn't clear in that post. So because I feel like that stuff's going to be there forever and people are going to go back and find that. So, you know, and I want to make sure that my point was made. That's the only thing I do. You know, and I open Instagram once a week and I upload 3 photos and then shut it down again. And I can't be fucked scrolling. I just...
And don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't go back and I regret things, and I have that regret, and I go back and delete things that I didn't really want to say at the time, but I was just angry, frustrated, drunk, whatever it is. Sometimes you do things, you're like, oh, I don't really want that to be on my permanent record, because again, social media is a permanent record, and that's another thing people don't realize, is that everything you do and say is out there. And people are like, oh no, but I just shared it. Like, I know you've worked in the corporate world before, and the people managing their social medias in the corporate world, they'll like go on there and they'll have a rant to their friends about how much of a dick their boss is or how much they hate their company, and then they're super surprised when it gets back to their company. They're like, but I only posted that to my friends. It's like, oh, you only posted it to 400 people, including some bunch of random strangers you just accepted for no reason, and now you're wondering why that actually becomes public knowledge and information. It's like, No, if you post it, if you send something digitally to someone, like I don't want to go all tinfoil hat conspiracy theory here, but anything you put out there into the digital world has the capacity to be seen by someone else you don't want to see it. So you either shut up and don't share things at all, or you accept the risk, and the risk obviously increases. If I share something with you, I'm pretty confident it's going in the vault and you're not telling anyone. If I share it with 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, 400 people, then it's cascading levels of risk of things being shared. So I don't know where we got to with this and how this relates to music, but it's fun to rant.
No, it is. No. So, oh God, there's something I was going to say on that. People don't realize that there are still things like web crawlers around, and web crawlers have changed from back in the GeoCities days, where they just collect a bunch of shit and web crawl, or like create these little circuits of stuff. But now what they do is they collate Facebook posts, random Facebook posts and tweets. And you can find your tweets on these pages just like called tweetme.org, and just all your tweets are there away from Twitter. So, you know, but if anybody who's on my Facebook wants to go and see Crazy Jade, go back to about 2016, 2017, when I thought the world was going to end and a planet was going to crash into Earth. I was full on conspiracy nut. I was in a really dark place and went down dark holes, but came out the other side. And there's a lot of people I don't think who are going to come out the other side, unfortunately, because they don't continue to grow. They just latch on and won't let go.
And that's probably a good point. And sort of the last thing I'll say on that is we do need to actually have a little bit of empathy, because some people are genuinely really struggling. And sometimes if you see a post that you think that's just a person being a dick and it's totally out of character. I mean, yesterday here in Australia was Are You OK Day. So sometimes it is actually more important to say to someone that's having that. I get on my channel all the time. You and I get a lot of hate and a lot of people saying bad things. I can put a review about an app where I'm completely vanilla and I'll still get someone that just posts something completely random and offensive. The thing is, though, that person's probably having a worse day than you. So if you're seeing people sprouting out, and if you're seeing people ranting and making all these claims, yep, some are just nutters, and some are just people that hate the world and hate other people. Yep, fair enough. But some people are either struggling with mental illness, they're struggling with addiction, they're struggling with life at the moment. It's tough. So, maybe my advice there is scroll past. That's the best thing you can do, or delete if it's on your profile if you don't want to have to deal with it. Sometimes, you can react back, but more often than not, I just feel genuine sorrow for people, because I'm like, you got nothing better to do right now than to be sitting here watching a video you clearly didn't want to watch, or maybe not even watching, so that you can make a comment to potentially trigger or get a reaction out of someone on the internet that you don't know. And that worries me. Like that's a concern for me, because there's a lot of people clearly struggling out there. So I try to show empathy. Doesn't always work, especially if they scratch at something that is a trigger point for me. Then hey, I'm human too, so I can have bad days and I can say bad things. But I do hope that we have a positive forward progression with this stuff. But we can only do what we can do. Definitely. At this point in time.
And I fall into that and do nasty things sometimes, but. That is what it is. We're always a work in progress. So you mentioned racing to the bottom before, and I wanted to get to this as well. Just talk about apps. Developers and their apps. I see a lot of people since doing this show, and you talk about apps as well. These developers, everyone wants everything for free. And just coming from Facebook, Facebook's free to a degree because you're the product. Now with free apps, opposed to priced apps, everyone wants everything for free, and that's good and fine, and there are some great free apps that come out. But then people want updates from the developers. Yep. And that costs money to keep a team on, or if you've got it, if you're privileged enough to have a team, or you're just one person. It's really hard. What are your thoughts on this whole race to the bottom, free apps versus, with subscriptions, to apps that come out, say, with a $15 price tag, and then you've got people going, oh, it's $15, what the hell?
Yeah, I love paying things up front. Like I used to play a lot of mobile games when the App Store first came out, before I was really heavily into music. And I loved paying 99 cents for a game and then just playing the crap out of it for like 4 weeks until I got bored, and then going, right, what do I buy next? I bought a heap of them. I have not spent a cent on gaming on iOS for 5 years now, because everything is freemium and I just can't get behind it. I hate the concept. I hate the fact that it preys on that dopamine hit again. It's hitting into that sensor of people liking it. How that relates to music, well, it's the same sort of thing. Like, I will still pay. Like, I love LumaFusion for my video editing, and there are other apps like KineMaster and others that are as good and probably better for some things, but they're a subscription model, and I simply can't do it. I simply can't go to a subscription model for something that I use like every day that I just want to have. I know it's the way of the future, and I know that a lot of apps are actually going down that track. And some of them are actually okay. So I do have some subscriptions, Netflix, like most people do. I use Canva.com, that's a subscription service, because, again, they are continually updating and changing and improving and doing things to them. So, yeah, they've got to get their money somehow. But and probably to pivot back to the whole free side of thing, though, yeah, like, people need to make money. Like, people, it's okay for people to produce a quality product. And I know you had Jacob Hack on recently, and he very eloquently put this. So go back and watch that video, because I basically just mirror all of his thoughts and opinions, which is that, yeah, if you get something for free, that's good, and you can try it. But yeah, if you want something that is going to be good and consistently good and create quality stuff, then yeah, it is going to cost money for that developer to do that, because there's some people that are just passionate and it's just their hobby and they just do it out of the goodness of their heart. But if we want to continue to have quality stuff, it's going to cost a few dollars here and there. And I would definitely much rather pay. I'll buy a $10 app as opposed to sign up to a 99-cent a month plan, even if I'm probably going to use the app 4 times and never use it again. I just hate the whole idea of having all these subscriptions bubbling in the background. What about you?
Yeah, I've mentioned before, I'll touch on subscriptions first. I wish there was an ability, I would love this to be a part of Apple's ecosystem, that if you subscribe to, if you have a bunch of subscriptions in apps and you pay for them for over, say, 3 months, then each of those apps give you the option to be able to realign them to all be paid on the same day, to change your date. But you've got to pay for a certain amount of time to show your loyalty to be able to do that. That would be really fantastic. So you'd be able to, you know, work around your pay, and it'd make the subscription model a lot more enticing for people, hopefully, and it better for developers too. And I think developers would get more for their money losing their 30% cut. So that's on that. With apps, what I'm going to say to people, I'm going to throw it out to people and put the onus on the people buying it. I think people need to spend, like, what I try to do is I spend a lot of time researching things, watching as many YouTube videos on a new app, reading stuff about this app, who the developers are. I do the same thing with gear, all the stuff that I buy, my drum kit, everything that I buy. I spend like a week to a week and a half, sometimes 2 weeks, comparing all these brands, checking out as many shops as I can to find the best deal. I really swat over it, and it may look to some people that I'm just buying stuff willy-nilly, but I really put a lot of effort into making sure I'm getting the best value, and I'm totally sure of what I'm getting is going to help me move forward, and it's worth the money. So I want to put the onus on the people to really look at the apps, look at the developers, and think about how it's really going to affect your music creation now and or for the future. So because if you want developers to keep updating them and keep moving along with Apple's update cycle, it's up to you to pay for things and support the developers, because developers are going under. They're struggling to keep up with it, and we need them. And I'll just finish too on my show is all about apps, and I'm not going to put an app up that I think is shit. It's no point. It's not helpful to anyone. And I'm not going to sit there and bag an app for it either. I'm just not going to talk about it. Like, there's no point being negative to that degree. So everything I do try and show to people, it's not like I'm trying to make money for the developers or anything like that. And a lot of them do cost money, unfortunately. That is the way it goes. But I'm talking about them because I find value in them, and I think other people may find value in them.
Yes, I agree, and I think your point there on everything, and I rant on this a lot, but it is the rant show, in my opinion and in my experience. So I was sort of having this thought during the week that is that I think that people that tell you that they have all the answers often have little or none of the answers, and people that tell you to go out and sample other people's stuff and find other opinions are usually the people with more to actually offer, because it's too often that you see people just go, this is great, use this, don't use this. And it's like people want these versus series. They want to know, which microphone do I buy? This versus this. Which app do I use? This versus this. And the answer is almost invariably, it depends. It depends on your experience, depends what you're doing with it. Do your research, do your due diligence, and then make a decision, and then go with it. And sometimes it'll work, hopefully more often than not, and sometimes it won't. I've bought apps where I'm like, oh, this is terrible, and I don't really like this. I actually suck it up and deal. Like, I know some people will return the app. You can do that through the App Store, but I just go, it was a bad decision. Just like when I go and buy a bad piece of fruit, I'm not going to go back to the fruit store. That's a good analogy. Apple store. We went full circle there, back to Apple, back to the Woolworths logo.
Totally.
But yeah, I just think that do your research, do your due diligence, find out from other people what they're using it for and what they're doing, and hopefully what you and I do is just giving people ideas. I always say that I'm never going to be one of these gurus and these people that everyone follows because they believe everything that they say. I'm like, no, you should disbelieve as much as I say as you believe, because if more than 50% of what I say resonates with you, then I'm doing really well. If 20% of what I say, if you get 1 out of 5 ideas I put out there, you actually can go away and use, I'm stoked. But no way is there going to be every single thing I say is going to actually help every single person. Life doesn't work that way. We're all different. Everyone has different experiences. Speaking of experiences, do you have a giveaway to do today? Because I've got 4 minutes left here.
I'm going to do that after. I'm going to let you go, and then I'll do it afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
I want to maximize your time as much as possible. So yeah, those hang around. We'll say goodbye to Pete, and then we'll give away these 2 apps. What was I going to say? On apps. Oh, yeah, look, all I know is that I know nothing. That's how I run this show, absolutely. Most mornings I get up, some of the apps I've looked at, I have no idea even how to use them. I'm still doing it by the seat of my pants. I'm hopefully going to make as many mistakes as possible so you're seeing them happen for yourself, because mistakes make you better. They just do. Before we go, look, we do this all the time. Your advice for criticism, because I'm seeing, because there's more online music happening, more people releasing things, there's more chances for criticism. So how do you deal with it?
Personally, look, to be honest, criticism is never great. No one goes out there going, I really hope people hate this. I really hope people tear this apart and tell me how shit this is. But it is so important. Like what I try to teach, my children, people that watch and listen to what I have to say, is that the only way to improve is to know what you do well, but also have clarity on what you're not good at and what you're struggling with and what you may need to develop. So the way I look at criticism is that you do need to filter it. Like, you do need to, if someone just says you suck, well, that doesn't help you and it doesn't help them. They're just having a bad day. You kind of just need to move on and just go, that's not going to help out. But if someone says something, you need to sort of, what I do is I sort of think back and I go, is there an element of truth to this? Yes or no? So if someone says you're a giant dick, I'm like, well, I'm not, so there's no element of truth to that. Well, maybe I am to some people, but I'm not. There's no element of truth. But if someone says, the way I really hate your nasally voice, I'm like, okay, so that's really harsh, but maybe I need to EQ out that 2K range where my nasal tone comes through. Okay, that there's some relevance to that. Someone may say, oh man, your vocals are terrible. I'm like, oh, actually, maybe I did hit a few wrong notes in that one. Maybe I need to redo it. So I think the way I approach criticism is to, like I suggest people do with everything, is to pick and choose, not to pick and choose what you listen to and what you don't listen to, but look for elements of truth, look for things that you can learn that maybe you've overlooked, because we all have these big blind spots of what we don't actually know about ourselves. And you actually need, the reason that we have these social structures is that you need other people to tell you what you can't see about what you do. Yeah. I always say I had the same problem where I would mix my vocals way too loud. And it took a bunch of time and a bunch of people telling me, you mix your vocals too loud, you mix your vocals too loud, you mix your vocals too loud. But I couldn't hear it. I couldn't see it. It didn't impact me. But if I want to share my music with other people, I maybe need to actually address that, which I eventually did. So that was a bit of a ranting, sort of rambling around the place. But I think, the way and the final thing is, realizing that that some people will just be a-holes and will just say harsh things. Also consider the source. So consider the source. What I love to do is if you get a really harsh comment, and I've got a bit of time on my hands, which is rare, I'll actually go back and look at what that person has also commented on.
That's the way
and
to
you
do it.
see a trend. And as soon as you see that trend, you realize it's 100% not me. And it's this feeling of relief because you're like, hang on, this very personal thing you just said about me, you've done to that person and that person and that person and that person. And as I say, you'll see these in groups and forums and online everywhere that the same people have the same things to say all the time. And it's clear that it's not really anything about you, it's about them. So, yeah, it is, but it's tough. It's tough to know the difference between the two. So, again, I hope that was a very ranty answer, but it is the rant.
Pick and choose your battles. I'll just finish on, look, I've had to learn that the hard way. I still get emails from when I did an article back when I worked at Same as a journalist. I did an article about the Catholic Church, and it got picked up by Google News, and it was shocking. And I still get emails from that, which were back in 2008, just random emails that say, die tranny scum. That's all they say. And I've learned over the last 5 years just to delete now and move on. Yeah. And I still get that stuff, the hatred for all that kind of stuff. It's not even like targeting the music or anything like that. It's just, you're just this, so die. And it's like, wow, I have no energy for it. So that's about it for today. Thank you very much for offering your time with us today. And I hope you got some enjoyment to get this off your chest.
I do think it was a cathartic release for me. It's good because I like I say, my channel's PG-13. I think a few folks in the chat said, yeah, Pete's very influenced by Jade. Let's go. I'm like, yeah, look, sometimes you just need to. Sometimes you need to scratch and show a little bit of your own what's bubbling underneath. But yeah, no, it is good, and hopefully there was some positive things out of this too. And I think that's the main thing. As you always say, do what makes you happy. And as I always say, look after yourself first and foremost. Self-care is super important, and other people around you. Just do the best you can to be a positive influence on other people and the world, and we'll all be a better place.
Yep, for sure. Now, folks, as usual, all Pete's links and stuff are in the description, all the YouTube, all the Twitters, all the stuff. They're all there, all the music. So go ahead, do what I'm going to do today to thank Pete for today. I'm going to put on all of his music on Apple Music. I'm going to let it play for 24 hours straight. So he gets all of 23 cents. So 24 hours, 23 cents. It's all good. I do that for all my guests. So thank you very much, Pete, for hanging out. I hope you have a really wonderful day. And we'll see you soon, my friend.
Thank you. Gotta run.
Bye.
Bye.
And okay, folks, if you're still here hanging out with us right now, I'll just scoot over to my other screen. Do I have it even here? Where are we? There's my iPad screen. I think it's down here. I've moved it. There we are. So we're back here now. So that was very cathartic for me as well. So thanks everybody for being here today. What we're going to do now is we're going to give away these two apps. So so we've got a oh, that wasn't smart. So just bring up this note thing. So we've only got 6 people. So if you didn't enter, you lose your snooze. I put up at least 3 posts up there. So we got and we got a random number generator here as usual. Are we? I'll just make sure it's scrolling, and you can see it's set to 0. So let's zoom in on this sucker. We've got 6 people. The first one will get DeePopMax. So let's do that now and hit generate. Number 3, which is Benedict Stewart, you have won DeePopMax. And the second one is for DeeEQ. And let's do that now. Bang, number 5, which is SM Borthwick. So, folks, Benedict Stewart, I'll just put a star next to both of these names. And all that bizzo. There we go. And SM Borthwick. Jade at DreadCircus.com if you want to email me, or if you've got me on Facebook Messenger, just message me and I'll send you the code and we can get on with our lives. So it's Jade at DreadCircus.com. So that's it for today. Congratulations, yes. And thank you all for being in the chat and hanging out with us today. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Would you like to see me and Pete do a live stream for the Apple event? I'm going to do it anyway. I've asked Pete if he'd like to, because he's going to have to get up early. But it's all up to you guys. If you'd like to see us two fuddy-duddies sitting up early in the morning here in Australia time, 3 a.m. in the morning, having a conversation over Tim Cook and his merry band of people announcing all this new Apple stuff. Fire off in the comments. Let us know. And if there's enough of you think it would be cool, then we'll do it. And if Pete can't be fucked, then I'll just do it. So I know I'm going to do it for sure anyway, because I think it'd be interesting, and I've always actually wanted to do that. So it's the end of the week, folks. I will let you know next week we have an amazing interview with somebody I've really wanted on the show for a really, really long time. Samantha Edge. She's a musician from Adelaide, Australia. She's absolutely awesome, and we're going to be doing the show at a different time. That's what I'm going to start doing with the interviews, depending on where people are in the world. I think I should be a bit more flexible. So it'll be later in the day for Australia. It'll be like 1 in the afternoon for Australia instead of 8 in the morning. For Americans, it'll be around 10:30 at night kind of thing. And for the UK, it's going to be early in the morning, so unfortunately for you guys. But these times may change just because we have people all around the world. And I want to make sure I can get as many cool people that I want on instead of, at least on the show, and not have to expect them to do crazy hours like 3 in the morning. So, cool. I want to wish everybody good luck over the weekend working on your Songtember songs. Everything's sounding really cool. So keep that shit up. I'm going to be working on my songs over the weekend. I'll probably be back on Sunday. I think I'm thinking of doing a little special live stream where I showcase the rough demos of my 4 songs from the Songtember EP I'm working on, Metheist, and I might try and do a live performance of them. So I'll decide that over the weekend. We'll see how we go. I might even play some drums live on them and sing on a couple. We'll see what happens. But next week, I'll continue on. There'll be more stuff with Songtember. Got a whole lot of other apps that we're going to be looking at as well, and an interview with Samantha Edge. So that's going to be really cool. So, folks, thank you once again for hanging out as usual. Thank you all for all your support. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Check out Pete's music and all that stuff as well. I want to thank Pete again, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Okie dokie dokie do. Look after yourself. Look after other people. And you know what? As I always say, make mistakes because they make you better. And just do what makes you